Jey Uso is a bad WWE champion. Now hold up, before you send death threats because I just attacked your favorite wrestler, I just have to say that Jey Uso is also one of my favorite wrestlers. Whenever he's allowed to be free in his role, he's one of the best in the world. But when I say that, I have to bring examples, and those examples are so old to the point where it reaches back to the Bloodline story in Sami Zayn, when he wasn't strapped to this babyface Yeet character or any of those crazy nonsense merch shit. We haven't gotten that same Jey Uso that I always love to see in this new babyface run since 2023. So how did this all connect into the flop of Jey Uso's World Heavyweight Championship reign? Well, I gotta say there are a myriad of reasons, but I've tried to shorten it down to where it's easy to take in, easy to understand. While you're at it, make sure to subscribe, as I'm trying to get to 500 before Cena's retirement tour ends. First off, there are clearly not enough title defenses and stories for Jey Uso to get his title reign going. See, this is forgivable in a long title reign, like Roman Reigns only had 31 defenses, which accounts to more than a month per defense, but when it's a short title reign, like only 50 days, it's horrible. It's detrimental to the reign, as Jey Uso only had 2 title defenses against Seth Rollins, which ended in a DQ, which doesn't really count because it was in a side story, and only Logan Paul, which he defended at Saturday Night's Main Event, which nobody wanted Jey Uso to fight Logan Paul. I would much rather have Jey Uso defend every week or every other week to make a fresh division with new stars competing for the title. This would make a fresh division around Jey Uso and the next World Heavyweight Champion. Second of all, he's not the main character of his own championship. The difference between every other World Heavyweight Champion is they treated that title as where they would identify themselves as champion. Meanwhile, Jey Uso would just go around helping out CM Punk and Sami Zayn for no reason at all. Well, there was a reason, but he was focusing on that instead of focusing on the actual prize at hand. When you're in side stories with John Cena and Logan Paul helping out Cody Rhodes instead of fixing up what you're doing with the actual World Heavyweight Championship, it's going to ruin the division and ruin the reign as we're at it. If he focused more on this World Heavyweight Championship, he probably would have been a good champion. At least would have showed that he tried to be a champion. But no, he was locked up with his friends' main event stories. Third of all, he was already set up for failure before he won the title. He lost the IC title for a pointless War Games match. He faced the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther a week before the Royal Rumble. And he lost that match only to win the Royal Rumble next week, which made the IWC really angry. And instead of choosing Cody Rhodes, which I think would have been a really cool story for Cody Rhodes to turn slowly into a heelish role as he started to be heelish against KO, no, he just went with a boring pick and faced Gunther in a very slow and boring story for 8 weeks until Jimmy Uso, his brother, had to save the story for him. And it was a mediocre match at best. This forced Jey Uso into a make or break reign, which clearly broke. This next one, I want you to hold your horses because this sounds really bad, but I think Jey Uso is a bad wrestler. Okay, maybe a better word would be less diverse and not enough moves for him. Because he has 3 main moves: a super kick, a spear, and a splash. 3 moves he used with the Usos, and 3 moves that are very common and very overused. He can't just have good matches if he's just using these 3 main moves as his arsenal, so it's just not going to work out, and IWC is going to get angry whenever he watches his matches. And I don't blame him, I'm kind of with them. Alright, and my last point is very, very important. You and WWE could forget every single point I've made here if that means that they fixed and solved this issue. Jey Uso should not be a catchphrase machine. The reason I like him and that he's a main eventer in the first place is because he's actually really good on the mic and his character is really in depth and really cool. Whenever he's serious, he just turns into some of the best assets for WWE, so I knew as soon as he won that title, he needed to be in that role. He can still do all the yeeting, to be honest, like just really minimize it, but also be serious whenever he said his segments and his promos, like he did with Braun Breaker before he won the Intercontinental Championship as a babyface. However, they fumbled so hard when they tried to make a repeat with Jey Uso making another theme song entrance, and then you'd say replay and replay over and over again without doing proper TV time with him. The main things that came out of his reign was yeeting with the hands, the actual saying the yeet, and some weird saying with And I feel like this is a unique case because Jey Uso is actually an unpredictable champion. He can lose the title at almost any point. He doesn't have this indestructible foe that Gunther had or Roman Reigns had. So with all of this, he wasn't really allowed to do what he needed to do. So no wonder he wasn't able to follow all these other points because he was already locked to the yeeting thing. This really made the IWC mad, and this really settled it for me that Jey Uso was a bad World Heavyweight Champion. Now the only question left is where Jey Uso can go from here. First of all, he better not go back to where he was with the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. I hope he doesn't win the King of the Ring or anything like that. I think he just stay out of the World Heavyweight Championship scene for now. And I hope he doesn't join in with Punk and Sami Zayn, which is actually the most likely cause to fight Seth Rollins' group, which I don't really like. What he should be doing is facing someone like a high mid-carder like Rusev, or maybe even Karrion Kross, to make a great foil and a great story for Jey Uso. Not fully main event, but propelling both Jey Uso and the person he's fighting. You can also get a change of scenery to SmackDown, but I don't think it's really that necessary for him. Could also be a great trade with LA Knight and Jey Uso switching brands. I don't know. And as much as I love Jey Uso, I always have to ask the question, will he ever be a World Heavyweight Champion again? And now I have doubts because this title reign was very bad. I'm not going to lie. He wasn't given the time to shine, and when he was, it wasn't really fully given to him. I don't think the Yeet character will ever get another World Heavyweight Championship, and rightfully so. But hopefully when he switches up his character and turns into that more serious side of Jey Uso, I think he will definitely achieve higher levels. That's where we get that Bloodline story Jey Uso level depth character, and that can main event multiple Manias, and that can win multiple World Championships. So that is all I have for y'all today. I know it's not much, but I'm trying to get more in there. But I'm excited that wrestling's starting to become more and more, stronger with R-Truth and Ron Killings coming out. And all these crazy things happening in WWE as of this week. It seems like WWE is about to be really shooken up for the next few months heading into SummerSlam. Now again, make sure to subscribe because I'm also trying to get that goal, but I really want to get to 1,000 before I try to even contemplate, get into that big leagues. That's all I have for y'all today. Bye.